What you are about to hear is highly classified.
And welcome back to The Zone. I'm Brant Fowler.
I'm John Wilson.
I'm Gordon Demowski.
And I'm Captain Ron Fortier. Hey, welcome everybody to episode 290 of Zone 4. God, 10 away from the big 300.
I know, we keep talking about this every week, and we just keep creeping closer and closer. And we're already starting to get some questions. I haven't told you guys, we're already getting some questions about what we're going to do for the big 300. Some suggestions have come through, and somebody, Ron, suggested we do a live show. And I was like, we tried that.
Yeah, we tried that. Yes, yeah. Yes, we did. But, even saying that, though, let's quantify that. Maybe a live show audio-wise would be cool.
Yeah.
But my video setup is never going to pull out. But maybe a live, like I said, an audio recording. I wouldn't see any problems with that.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
We could do that. We could still we did it for the Bill, myself and Scott Simmons did it for the Smallville finale. We did a live show like that, audio, on a site called TalkShoe. I don't know if that's still around, but I'm sure there's some site we can use that to do that. Yes, that's an option.
Okay.
We will look into that.
Yeah.
Everybody that's listening. But before we get too far off track, we should mention we are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find us on comicspodcasts.com each and every Friday, and you can find a bunch of other shows there as well. So, all right. So,
tons of headlines this week.
Well, before we do get into headlines, I just want to ask you guys real quick, briefly, if you guys watched if you watched the Arrow season premiere.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. And thoughts?
Well, hey, I'm not, again, for anybody who hasn't, because sadly enough, I've realized that half the decent shows on television, the new genre shows, are all on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so people are on demand or TiVoing or DVRing stuff. So no spoilers here, okay? But I got to tell you, all right, watching Arrow last night, the premiere of season 3, I was not ready for that finale.
I know,
right?
Yeah.
That blindsided me completely. Valerie, my wife, looked up and goes, "Did that just happen?" So, for all you haven't seen it, no spoilers, but you've got to watch this week's episode because it took a real wicked left turn, which obviously is going to portend for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the nice thing about the Arrow premiere is that, and I mean this as a compliment, it had a swagger. You kind of knew it was like, yeah, we got this, we're going to do it. And even that twist at the end, when we get to the point where we can actually talk about it without spoiling it, I have some thoughts, but I really like the fact that it seemed to just out of the gate be confident and cool and just hit every note perfectly.
Okay. John, what'd you think about it?
I was expecting something like that. Maybe not that exactly, but I wasn't expecting that character to necessarily come around.
Yeah.
But when I saw the hair color of a certain other character, I suspected that maybe.
Yeah, I got that sensation too, John.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. When a certain person showed up blonde.
I didn't even pick up on that.
And there was a stray line, at least I thought I heard a line about, oh yeah, you're kind of buffing up, what's going on?
Yeah.
I must have missed that too.
Well, with this
let's
particular character, Brant, it's probably easy to do that.
Yeah.
Let's not give away too many spoilers here.
Maybe we'll make it a topic in a couple weeks and just cover a few episodes.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah.
We totally have to. Okay.
Yeah, but I will say, and it's not a spoiler at all, but because it was always planned to be this way, but I do like the way that Roy is integrating into the team.
Oh, totally.
The
opening segment with all of them in action, and hey, come on, all right? They had a lot of felicity, so anytime you have a lot of felicity in an episode, I'm happy.
I love that they just started off with Roy in costume and everything, and I was told that DC put out a digital comic that kind of bridges the gap. It's called Season 2.5. So it kind of tells you, from point A to point B what happened between the seasons. But I love that they just started with Roy just right on a team like that.
Yep. And of course, the appearance of another DC comic hero showing up was a welcome, relief and a lot of fun. It's going to be interesting to see where this particular hero, who's always been one of my favorites in the comics, how much they develop him.
Yeah. And
it's only 600 miles away.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely be talking. Oh, I should mention the Star City thing. I love that they threw that reference in there for us.
Yeah.
Because I remember us talking about Starling. Why'd they call it Starling and all this stuff? So that was a nice little thing. But we'll be talking about more DC TV heroes later on in the show. Actually, we'll talk about one right now too. Did you guys watch this week's Gotham?
Yes.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so John, I'll ask you because I know you're a huge Gotham fan.
Yeah.
Was this your best episode? Because I've seen people say that.
No,
Okay.
It wasn't my best episode at all, really.
Okay.
I'm really questioning the way they're dealing with Montoya.
Okay.
They're making her a little stalkery.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know she and Barbara had a relationship and all that. That's not a spoil at all for anybody. And if it is, at least go back and watch the first episode. You're a couple episodes behind already.
Yeah.
But, there is, but I mean, she's really coming across as, I know, at least within the context of, the characterization, she thinks she's doing it out of a place of caring because she does think that Gordon is dirty because that's the outward appearance is that Gordon's dirty.
Mm-hmm.
But she was really coming across uncharacteristic and by, contrast, Alan is coming across as kind of a non-character. They're not giving him anything to do except follow Montoya around.
Yep.
So, I'm sad to see that happening. Bullock, I don't know where the thought is with Bullock here. I know they, honestly for me, they're making this characterization very problematic. He's coming across as too on the bad side. He's coming across as too dirty and too, different. So that's probably going to have to change for a while. And I don't want to spoil it, but a character returned that I did not expect to return at all.
Really?
So,
Really?
Yeah, well, I didn't expect him to return so soon.
Oh, okay.
I mean, obviously he returned.
Okay, I thought you did. I was like, really? You didn't expect him to return?
No, he was never supposed to come back. No, I just didn't expect him to return so quickly. I expected him to consolidate some power outside the city and then come back.
Yeah.
Not come back for that. So,
yeah.
And, the main villain was kind of I don't know how to describe it. He was kind of a non-thing, or not really the main villain, I guess you'd say the vigilante.
Yeah.
They were trying a little too hard to paint him as a good guy.
Yeah.
Amongst bad guys, or a good guy against the bad guys, or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't my favorite episode of the series so far by any stretch.
Yeah, I think the second one is my favorite so far. The first one had me iffy, and the second one picked up my expectations. And this one, I don't know. I mentioned in the forums on CR that I felt like they played a bit too much with the humor aspect of things, and with the weather balloons, I don't know. It felt like something out of Lois and Clark for me.
Yeah, I mean, I was live tweeting it, as I always do, and I mean, when I actually heard the woman say "oi,"
Yeah, I know. Really.
Before what happened to her happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
Not wanting to spoil again, but
Right.
the fact that she actually got
Yeah.
out, and I'm like, oh man, really?
Yeah, that was bad. I don't know. What did you think about it, Gordon?
I was just not impressed at all. I mean, it's funny because first episode I was kind of iffy on. The second episode I thought, oh, okay, they got it. You know, the guy who was making the notes about more Batman stuff, they kicked him off the set because it really felt solid. It felt like, okay, this is the direction. And here it kind of felt like, I don't know what they were thinking, with, like John said, the character Montoya, not all people would act like that, it really felt kind of like, I wonder if, when the show was announced and with all the news, people were saying, oh my God, Fox is going to get their fingers into it and mess it up. And I'm wondering when at some point, I wonder if a lot of what's going on here is Fox is saying, well, let's, no offense to anyone listening, let's crank up the girl on girl action. And so they think, okay, well, let's make Montoya a little bit more stalkerish. We need someone who's really badass. Well, the vigilante. I'm in it for maybe one or two more episodes, but if it continues this really strong, really weak pattern, I'm out. It just, you need to at least when you look at something like Arrow, yes, the first half of season 1 was kind of uneven, but you got the sense the producers said, okay, we got to fix this. Let's fix it. Do what we got to do and charge on. Unless Gotham starts doing that, within like 2 or 3 episodes, I'm out.
Okay, fair enough. Ron, what'd you think about it?
Well, I'm going to agree with Gordon on this because this particular episode to me seemed like it was all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's the thing that bothered me the most. I've already mentioned the fact that I'm leery of seeing young Bruce every single episode.
Yeah. And
here we go. We see him again this time. Okay. Aside from all the other plot elements, because we have to get him telling, they're having that little discussion and Alfred goes, well, he's a vigilante, fighting bad guys. And then young Bruce, who's so wise, says, but he's killing them. He's no better than we're supposed to have that moment, that ha-ha moment that says, oh, that's Batman's not going to take a life, blah, blah, blah. And it was so contrived. And that I'm getting the feeling, and this is, I think, going to be one of the biggest problems with this show, and it was something all of us worried about when it was in production and we'd heard about it. I don't think there's a real definite direction or leader in the group of writers and the showrunners on what Gotham is. I think what's happening is they've got such a huge wealth of various Batman interpretations over the last, 70, 80 years that they're trying to grab elements from all of them. I mean, I watch this show sometimes and I'm thinking of the animated TV series, or I'm thinking of Joel Schumacher's wacky Batman, or Nolan's serious Batman. And it's like they're all shoving them together to see what works and what doesn't. And that, I think, is the biggest problem they have, all right? They can't make up their minds what this show is going to be. Again, that's why I went back to what Gordon says. I think Arrow almost fell into that trap, but it didn't. It decided to stick with the dark side of what they were doing. This was going to be a dark hero story of a hero finding himself and finding his way out of that darkness, so that by the second season, it had its legs under it, and we knew what Arrow was all about. Even to the debut of episode 3, it's like it's become comfortable for us because we know what kind of a show Arrow is. Mm-hmm. Gotham, we don't yet. I don't think they've I have this, and it's only because from a writer's perspective, I've been caught up writing comic book series where literally publishers and editors were fighting over the way a story should go, a series should go. And I was forever like changing scripts to placate one, then placate the other one, then placate one. And there was never a definitive, this is what this is about. That's the sense I'm getting from Gotham right now. And I really don't like that. Hey, I'll be back next week, but really, somebody take the lead here and say, this is what this show is going to be.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gordon. Sorry.
And I was about to say, the showrunner's Bruno Heller. This is a man who did a police procedural set in ancient Rome. Okay, this isn't hip young, and there's a natural story in there. It was said in the first, the theme was expressed in the first episode, putting the needs of the city ahead of your own needs. If you focused on, you've got a cop who's kind of sort of on the take, you've got a cop that's trying to stay honest, and they're both trying to redeem themselves as well as improve the city. There's your story. There's the focus. And you've got that focus on how does the city get to a point where, okay, Jim Gordon can say, I don't need to fight this battle anymore because there's a new guy who can take it and do more than I can. Mm-hmm. Here what this is it's like Ron said, we need this plot element, check. We need this plot element, check. If it needs to really decide. And the sad thing is, if the show gets canceled after episode 13, the internet, people will complain about this is another case of Fox, Fox shouldn't have gotten involved and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And really, I'm not going to blame Fox. It's the guy who's running the show, because he's got enough clout to say, look, you hired me to do this show. I'm doing this show. If DC's happy, fine, back the bleep off.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think, Ron said it much more eloquently than I would, but I think my main problem with this episode was the fact that they changed the tone so much that it seems like every episode it's been a different tone, and like you said, they don't know what they want the show to be, so.
Well, really I see two problems with it right off the bat. One, it was a mistake to make this an 8 o'clock show.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't be as dark as this show wants to be at 8 o'clock.
That's true.
True.
It'd be much better off as a 9, maybe even a 10 o'clock show. Would have to be 9 for Fox, I suppose. But yeah a 9 o'clock show. Secondly is, I don't think that they should have made Bruce Wayne a central character.
I agree. I liked him better in that first episode where he was present, but he wasn't, even in the second episode, you just had that one scene with him. I prefer him, like, every couple episodes we'll look in on Bruce and it'll be a really short thing. But yeah, I agree. I don't like him as a central character that's, tied into Cat so much and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, I don't necessarily mind him being tied into Cat, and I don't necessarily mind the burgeoning Cat and Gordon kind of partner / antagonist thing.
I kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. I kind of like that there's someone who's not out to kill him, but there is someone that, he will help him, but, she'll also jab him a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
But I think with Bruce, I agree with Gordon on the thing. It should be centrally about Bullock and Gordon.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then to a larger extent, or, to a lesser extent rather, the entire Gotham Police Department.
Yeah.
Like, I like that we saw that one really kind of crooked cop.
Cranston, yeah.
And, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, and that he actually made Bullock look a little less bad in the long run, because my thing with Bullock is knowing the character that he's supposed to become, they're making that journey longer and longer every week by making Bullock worse and worse.
Right.
Yeah.
So there needs to be an edge. And, even in the last scene where we saw his hesitation with Gordon, I mean, I couldn't believe it was even a second thought for him to do what he eventually did. But, you saw that hesitation. I'm like, wait a second here. He's kind of out for himself and all this, but he's not going to let another officer die, is he? And there was that look there. So, it's just, they're building obstacles for themselves. And, I hope that they're not going to be insurmountable obstacles. I hope that they're going to be able to get it together.
Right.
And find their feet. And I agree with you. I don't think we need to see Bruce every episode. A check-in every now and then is cool. Him bumping into Gordon with a whole armful of criminology books would be fine every now and then, or whatever. But I still love the series.
It runs the risk of becoming, Batman Smallville if you keep.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, which isn't going to work.
I'd much rather see Alfred, because then you can bring in that element of, you can say, Bruce is away at boarding school, and you can create almost a conflict where, okay, this butler speaking for this kid, is this kid really doing stuff? And you can get kind of the same effect. It just, this really, I think, I'm willing to bet that Heller and his team came up with a really solid story. That a lot of this, part of it may be DC saying, no, you need to put in certain elements. I mean, this is a show that really, John, I think, talked about it being a later show. This is a show that really, to go as dark as it wants to, needs to be on FX. I mean, it needs to outshield the Shield.
Right.
Yeah. And, I think we all agree that, when the show was first announced, it did sound like Gotham Central, the TV show, and somebody spoke up and said, no, we need Bruce Wayne in there. We have to have Bruce Wayne in there.
Yep.
So, and it's, they're trying to balance that now, and it's not quite gelling yet.
So. Well, what it's going to do is, if say for some miracle, a chance, the series actually continued in this hodgepodge kind of way, and Bruce was there every single week with Gordon, then that would totally nullify the fact that at some point in the next 20 years he becomes Batman and Gordon has no idea he's Batman.
Yeah, very true.
Right, and you can only have a kid do so much.
Well, duh.
Yeah, what? Well, I mean, what I'm.
I mean, unless we're doing the Hardy Boys, you know what I mean?
Right. Oh,
yeah, and we saw that a little bit, with him kind of analyzing the paper and analyzing different things and getting caught up in the case files of his parents and all that.
Right.
We saw that a little bit, but, all the physical training, all the, intellectual and martial arts stuff, I mean, none of that comes until he's an adult.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can only do so much with a, 9, 10-year-old kid.
Right.
So he's either going to have a major age jump somewhere in the series, or, they're going to have to slowly weed him out of the thing more and more as he's off doing, whatever he's going to do. One thing I did like, and that goes against Alfred being the one in charge, is when Alfred was, it wasn't in this episode, I think it was in the previous episode, where Alfred was getting kind of snarky.
Yeah, it was
about
2,
episode 2, and then, he finally said Alfred loudly, and then Alfred backed down. It's like, you're looking after me, but I'm still the Wayne in this house.
Right.
That might have even been in the first. Butler,
That might have even been at the end of the first. I can't remember at this point.
It might have been, and I don't expect him to be calling him Master Bruce and all that stuff. That is extremely outdated and outmoded, and I think it even sounds a little silly in the comics.
Yeah.
When it happens. But, it's good to kind of see that determination. I think that I kind of think I'd like to see Alfred get a little more on board with Bruce and what he wants and what his ideas are than to constantly be the antagonist against his ideas.
Mm.
He hasn't really stated his ideas because, once again, kid.
Right.
But, hopefully it'll switch to the point where he's more of an ally to Bruce instead of, I guess he's trying to be an authority figure. So.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else to say about it without spoiling things, so.
Okay. As the dog is barking.
Well, yeah,
Ooh, let the
What can you
dogs
do?
out.
All right, so. Good Lord.
That's what you get for being the only one at home there, bud.
I know. We should dive into some headlines for a little bit of lighter thing.
Comic book headlines.
Light and noise. No, yeah, I'm thinking noise of the dogs now. News is what I was trying to say. Marvel announced recently that there's going to be an ongoing Unbeatable Squirrel Girl series coming in January. What do you guys think about this?
Oh God, I have no clue who this character is, but you guys will like this because every Tuesday afternoon I get together with two other comic book pals here in town. We go out for coffee in the afternoon and just talk about what's on TV, what's in comics, what we're doing creatively and stuff like that. And one of them's a professional letterer. His name's James Gabaz. He works for Viz Comics. They translate a lot of Japanese manga.
Yeah.
And he does the American translations. And he's very creative, very gifted guy. So we stop over at the local Starbucks as they get our coffees and go sit down. And the second we sit down, the first thing out of James's mouth is, "Oh boy, Marvel's making a Squirrel Girl series." Truth, and I went, "Huh? Squirrel? Who?" And he starts in on this whole thing about Squirrel Girl. So now, I went and read the press release. But apparently, if there are thousands of other Jameses out there, a lot of people are smiling and from ear to ear and happy today.
Oh, Squirrel Girl's got a huge cult following. And she's one of those characters that just endears people for some reason. She was one of the Great Lakes Avengers. It was like basically the, was it the Justice League Booster Gold kind of thing? It was that version of Avengers.
Kind of, I guess.
Kind
of.
If you want to make a comparison, yeah,
Justice League Antarctica, maybe.
Okay. But it's funny. It sounds like it's going to be played for the humor. The writer Ryan North, he used to write Adventure Time comics, which is a popular cartoon on Cartoon Network and stuff. And so I don't know. It seems like it's going to be fun. I'm kind of curious about it.
Look, I write Mr. Jigsaw. Okay, so I read this press release. I look at the artwork, and it's got me. I mean, you made that comment, Brand, about it's going to be another fun comic, which is all too rare in this day and age. So I'm definitely putting this on my pull list. I want to see it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any other thoughts about Squirrel Girl?
It looks cute. I mean, not much more than that. I like the artist, a newer artist named Erica Henderson.
Yeah.
I like the art. It's cute. The thing with her standing atop all these major Cosmic League villains that she apparently has kicked the butt of.
Yeah.
That's really cute. But then you've got like these two C-listers with Kraven and Tiger Shark, and then you got Red Skull over there coming at her.
Yeah.
After she's defeated Galactus and Thanos and all this, it's like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but then the press release goes, faces her most daunting challenge.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Something tells me I think this is a setup for Marvel's 2016 movie slate. You heard it here first, folks.
All right.
I will say this: I have seen some pretty awesome Squirrel Girl cosplay.
Actually, yeah, there's some people that do Squirrel Girl well, and I think she was the babysitter for Luke Cage and Jessica Jones in the Avengers, and that somehow that really raised her acumen a great deal. So,
I think somebody at Marvel, maybe Bendis or somebody's like a big fan of hers or something. So,
hey, again, like I said, these are comic books, okay?
Right.
They're not all supposed to be taken seriously, people. And kudos for Marvel and the creative team for going with this, okay? Maybe we need more comics like this.
I agree.
It's funny.
And and for that reason, I would recommend people checking out and trade the Superior Foes of Spider-Man. It's about to get canceled, but check out the trades because it is some fun stuff.
Gotcha.
All right. Moving on to a company that's usually lighthearted and fun.
Yeah, right.
Archie Comics unveils the new look for the Dark Circle comics, which used to be Red Circle, and they changed it to Dark Circle.
Yeah, so there goes that karma again. Marvel gives us a Squirrel Girl, now Archie's going dark.
Yeah. So we got, what are the characters? We got the Fox, we got the
Black Hood.
Yeah, Black Hood,
and the Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, suddenly the Shield's a woman.
Apparently, yeah.
Okay.
Shield was still a guy in the Fox miniseries they did.
Yeah, I think so.
A couple of years ago or last year or something. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I liked when Archie Comics came out with Afterlife with Archie because it was something different and unique, and I really liked the series, and especially Francesco Francovilla's artwork on it. It was amazing. But now it's like, okay, everything in Archie is just gonna change and they're gonna keep playing with these other genres, which is kind of neat, but at the same time, I don't know, it just kind of concerns me a little bit.
Well, Brant, you're not gonna believe this. I didn't see it on the agenda, but earlier today, you know what they announced, and I'm not kidding. This is not a gag.
Yeah.
Predator meets Archie.
Are you serious?
I wish I were kidding. I really wish that this were a time where I could say I'm joking, and then John could yell at me for pulling such a nasty dastardly trick. No, this is a true. Predator meets Archie is a thing.
Oh, wow. Now, in the 90s, they did Punisher meets Archie, and that was a stretch in and of itself. But Predator? I mean...
Hey, why not?
Okay.
Brant, Google it right now. You will believe me when I say Predator meets Archie is a thing.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's a New York Comic Con announcement, actually.
Oh, well, there you go.
Wow.
I am really sorry about this, guys.
No.
I wish this were a joke.
If it bleeds, Jughead can kill it is the tagline for the story.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
So when did Jughead become the monster killer of the Archie universe?
I don't
That's
know.
why you gotta read the book, John.
Monsters make good hamburgers.
This is I have to talk about
Apparently.
this now. This is a 4-issue miniseries
Whoa.
that's coming out next spring.
Yeah, gonna be collected
Okay.
in trade.
And it says, don't let the innocent art style fool you. The comic is shaping up to be every bit as violent as the Predator films.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay.
So Reggie finally buys it?
Yeah. Yeah, he's the first to go.
Wow. All right, that's different. I was not expecting that. I'm kind of flustered now. There is another thing that's not on the agenda that I wanted to mention because I think you guys, at least some of you, will be happy to hear this. We're not getting necessarily a sequel to the Dredd movie, but the producer of the movie did announce a free 7-part web series that's spinning off of it called The Dark Judges. And that's going to be coming out soon. It's not clear whether Carl Urban is going to reprise his role, but, hey, if we can't get a movie, at least we're getting a web series we can watch for free. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it just keeps the idea alive and generates interest,
Yeah.
keep pushing for the sequel, you know?
And this is the same, before you jump in, John, this is the same producer that did the Punisher laundry thing that Thomas Jane reprised his role.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's that guy doing it. So that's pretty awesome. Go ahead, John.
Oh, I was just thinking, like, the judges were so light and shiny to begin with. You now need dark judges?
All right.
Well, there's in the Dredd mythology, because I read all the Dredd comics, when they came out. There's like Judge Death and Judge Pestilence. Those are the dark judges. They're the ones that come out, and they're like the ones you. In fact, at one point, Judge Dredd actually did fight Judge Death.
Yeah, I remember
They
that.
gave him a ticket for a parking violation, so.
Okay. Interesting. Oh, but yeah, I'm excited about that. Anyway, getting back to the agenda, Titan is going to be publishing comics based on the Ninth Doctor, who was played by Christopher Eccleston in the TV show. They've already released 10th Doctor and 11th Doctor comics, so jumping back a little bit now.
And they're also, I think, in the next few months, going to be releasing their 12th Doctor comic.
Oh, okay. With
They are.
Capaldi, yeah, okay. Or no. Capaldi's the third,
Yeah.
right? Oh,
No,
yeah, well,
Capaldi's 12.
I'm so confused.
Curse you, Stephen Moffat.
Yeah.
There you go.
Remember, Tenet went twice.
Oh,
So Capaldi's.
yeah. The
Yeah.
technicality thing, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing that makes me happy is, not so much that it's the Eccleston Doctor,
Mm-hmm.
but that we're going to have Captain Jack
Oh, okay.
and Rose very prominently in this one.
Yeah. I don't know. The Eccleston series is the one that turned me off of watching Doctor Who. So I don't know how I felt. Yeah, I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of it, and I was like, I don't like this. It's not working for me.
See, to me, it was
He
just
was
the
kind of a
opposite.
quiet.
Yeah.
He was such a different Doctor. That's why I liked it.
Well, I mean, I'd never watched Doctor Who before him, so
Yeah.
I had no frame of reference. I started watching. I was
Okay.
like, mannequins, yeah, it's lame. I did like. You can jump in, Gordon. I was just gonna say I did like some of the Matt Smith stuff I watched. So go ahead.
There you go.
Okay, well, for Eccleston, there's 3 episodes that occur after that you should watch.
Okay.
One is Dalek,
Mm-hmm.
and one is a 2-parter called The Empty Child, The Doctor Dances.
Okay.
You will like those.
Yeah. I
Okay.
agree with that.
I will give them a shot.
And actually, the Empty Child, the Doctor Dances one is the one where they introduce Captain Jack. So
Okay.
that'll be another good reason to watch that.
Yeah. Cool.
But yeah, he's acquired. I don't dislike him as much as I am really not on board with Capaldi yet.
Mm.
Eccleston isn't necessarily my favorite. He's kind of far down the list for me. But, there were certain aspects to him that I enjoyed. His daft old face, as he would put it, definitely wasn't one of them. But, I did like his interactions, with a few historical people. Like he was really, it was really kind of adorable when he met Charles Dickens.
Oh, okay.
And stuff like that. So, there were bits and pieces of him I enjoyed quite a bit.
Okay. Cool.
But I think it was more the people around him that I really liked and less him.
Yeah.
But, then, I was a huge Tenet fan. And conversely, I know people who absolutely hate David Tennant as far as the Doctor goes.
Yeah, I won't go into it, but just I watched the first episode of Grace Point last night, which he started.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was on. How was that?
Yeah,
it was decent. I know it's a remake, and according to Lisa, who watched the British version, it's almost like a scene by scene remake, and he starred in it as well, I think.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be that show, but Americanized.
Right. So. Were you going to say something, Gordon?
Yeah, I was going to say, how was his American accent?
You can hear the Scottish behind it.
That's
Yeah.
Because he
I don't know why it's bothering.
Well, probably the perception is, okay, if I'm in an American series, I should do an American accent. Because he did a pilot years ago called Rex is Not Your Lawyer, and his is, some British actors can do really good American accents. There are very few who can't.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is Ben Kingsley, ironically.
Yeah, surprisingly.
The other is David Tennant. And it's, I think also part of it is a reaction to the whole, bad guys now have British accents. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys want to know something funny?
What?
You guys know I'm a huge, I really love the Harry Potter movies and everything.
Yep.
I didn't realize he was in them.
Oh yeah, he's
Barty Crouch's son.
his
Yeah.
son, yeah, or Barney Krantz, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize it. Anyway, just a fun aside there.
So speaking of British good guys,
He did look quite different.
Good segue. Good segue,
like
Ron.
it.
Yeah,
Dynamite.
Segue!
Yeah. Dynamite Entertainment signs a license agreement with Ian Fleming Publications. They're going to be producing James Bond 007 to comic books and graphic novels in 2015.
which is really cool. Initially, when I read that topic this week online, I thought they might be reprinting the British graphic novels and comics. I've got a few of those in my own library, and they're a lot of fun. But no, apparently, according to Dynamite, these are going to be brand new stories with new writers and artists. And from the PR, I guess, they're going to go back into his past and basically show us the evolution of him as a British agent and his evolution into becoming James Bond.
Nice.
Yeah, these going to be fresh. Apparently they've gotten with the Fleming estate, and they pretty much opened their, archives, I guess,
Yeah.
to them. So yeah.
Well, I mean, they've seen what they've been doing. I mean, like them or hate them, Dynamite, does some really good stuff from time to time. And from what I understand, they've been doing good stuff with like the $6 Million Man and stuff like that. And, so they know what they're doing. So you gotta give them credit. So that's.
Well, I mean, this is a huge license.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
And even beyond what you just said. I mean, James Bond is known throughout the world.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's
I'm sure they're going to put, the best quality, creators they can on the title.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be interested. I'll definitely pick up the first couple issues and see what it's like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Maybe we'll even review them here on the show.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. There you go.
So.
008, license to review.
Yeah, there are certain aspects of James Bond that I just wonder how they're going to deal with that. Dynamite doesn't generally go too far into the realm of the very sexy, so
yeah,
it'd be interesting to see what they do.
My only concern is that they would go over the top with some of the spy stuff, but hopefully they'll rein it in. So.
See how gadgety they are.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. We'll wait and see. 2015, we'll have to keep our eyes out for it.
Yep.
All right, so moving on to some TV and movie news, now that we've talked about some comics for a while. Transformers Robots in Disguise headed to Cartoon Network.
Instead of the Discovery Hub.
Yeah, instead of Discovery. So, interesting there. I don't know if you guys are fans of Transformer cartoons.
No, I like the fact that it's going to be on Cartoon Network. I mean, because of its past history with Cartoon Network. Yeah. And one of the comments made in the press release was that Discovery Hub itself was more geared to a female audience, whereas Cartoon Network is much more balanced. I mean, between the genders. And obviously, Transformers is boy-centric. I think we'd all agree with that.
Right.
So it seems to have a better receptive audience at Cartoon Network. And quite frankly, a lot of the new stuff that I see on Cartoon Network doesn't appeal to me personally. I'm an old cartoon guy from way back. And something like Transformers to me seems to be that perfect compromise. It's a show that, if I was flipping through the channels at night and saw it, I'd most likely sit down and watch an episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. I was
just going to say, for me, it has way too young of a feel to it.
It does.
To really encourage me to get into it. It feels way too, not even teen. It feels kind of tween to me, if not even younger, you know. It's like the very expressive, I don't want to say anime, but there's really no other word for it. The very expressive anime style faces. You know, that kind of, that loud kind of beat in the background. You know, in the video anyway, that loud boisterous beat in the background.
Right.
Really sort of immediately turned me off.
Gotcha. But I do agree with Ron that Cartoon Network's a better fit all the same.
Oh, yeah.
The hub, it's...
No, it's gone My Little Pony.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost completely, you know.
Yeah.
They used to have a little bit more eclectic mix of stuff, but they've gone, you know...
Oh, yeah, I think
My Little Pony, etc., nuts.
Yeah, I think at one time they had stuff like G.I. Joe, and there was several boy-centric kind of shows on there as well, and you know, some older stuff too. But yeah, it's really gone that way. So yeah, I agree, it's a better fit. So all right.
Well, have you guys? Well, you know, just a subtopic of this. Have you guys read the fact that this past last weekend, especially for WB? This was like, the first weekend in the history of the company that they did not have any Saturday morning cartoon shows?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, the last one's the last holdout.
They were the last channel that had Saturday morning cartoons. They had, I mean, they were reruns, but they had like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, stuff like that on there.
Man, and civilization as we know it is going to the dogs.
I'm telling you.
It's
a sad
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's crazy. So no more Saturday morning cartoons except for, you know, on your cartoon-centric networks.
Yeah.
Which a lot of them have live-action shows on now, so...
Well, even that, is the Boomerang channel even still around anymore?
It is around, but I think it's one of those that's on one of those packages that you have to pay extra for,
right,
or something. So it's not on your basic, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
packages.
I don't think our thing carries it anymore because I have pretty much, you know.
I'm not sure ours carries it
except
either.
some of the movie channels that you can get, and I haven't seen it, and I kind of miss it because, you know, that was the only place for decent older cartoons.
Yeah. So.
I miss my cartoons.
I was thinking they were showing that one, or at least the thing I showed, they were showing one of the interstitial things that they used to put on ABC. And that was kind of, you know, where I stuck every early Saturday morning because that they had Schoolhouse Rock and everything else. So, you know, it's like all that stuff that I was really into. It's like, it's all gone now.
Yeah.
I feel so old.
Yeah, I remember when with Saturday morning you not only had cartoons and live action stuff, the live action stuff actually didn't insult your intelligence and didn't seem geared for like, you know, it was actually done with some style and wit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. we're just three pathetic old guys in Brant. So what do we know?
Yeah.
Hey, you know, I was born in the 70s. I remember Saturday morning cartoons very well. But anyway, moving on. Paul Feig, however you pronounce his name, says new Ghostbusters movie will be a total reboot. They've thrown out the idea of, you know, third movie as a sequel with a whole female cast and all that, and they decided to just completely reboot the whole franchise.
Right, but again, it will have female leads.
Does it say that in there?
Yeah, what you misread. What you misread was that they are looking at female leads.
Okay,
but it will be a total reboot. So they won't be the same characters, even to the point when you read the article. The writer and the producers say that, you know, they would love some of the characters from the first movie, the classic, all right, like Rick Moranis or Ernie Hudson, you know, to do cameos.
Yeah.
They basically said, knock on our door. You know, we'd love to have you come in, but you will not be the same character.
And see, that's ridiculous.
Well, again, it goes to the reboot itself. They do not want to do that Ghostbusters. Their whole thing is it's 2014 or 2015, whenever the movie comes out, and there's no back history. So they're giving us basically a brand new story of girls who go ghost hunting, like Sci-Fi's Ghost Hunters on Friday nights or whatever, and they're going to play off that, getting hopefully some decent comedians to fill those kind of roles and give us new characters. That's their approach. So if you brought in Ernie Hudson and he played like the original Ghostbuster, then that history would have to exist, and that's not what they want to do.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to read this whole one. I was going off of what somebody had told me. I don't know how I feel about that, though, because it's that almost makes me feel like just call it Ghost Hunters or something. Just do something different.
Because, they're missing the perfect opportunity for these to be the children of the original Ghostbusters.
Or at least one of them be the child of somebody.
Or at least one of them, someone who would have access, like Egon's daughter.
Yeah.
Who would have access to all the particle things, all the backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
Or even,
stuff,
or even, just to take it further, now everyone's really big into science and explaining things rationally, yet there are these weird little supernatural things that keep popping up. So the original Ghostbusters kind of said, oh, yeah, no more ghosts. We're going to have to go. Screw this. And it's someone who is a student of Egon's or Venkman's. They pull it together, and they do ghost-busting stuff anyway. I mean, at first I thought this was just a way for Aykroyd to revive his career because he's not really doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just wondering, really, this is all about just keeping it sounds like it's just keeping the copyright on the name.
Yeah.
I mean, I love female Ghostbusters. Don't get me wrong.
And the actresses that that they've talked about casting. I love that lineup too. Go ahead.
I'm cool with all but one of them.
Okay. I'm curious which one.
You're curious. I don't like Melissa McCarthy.
She's the one I can't remember who she is every time I look at this.
She's on Mike and Molly. She's Molly.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Her entire career is based on the fact that she's fat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and she's also Jenny McCarthy's cousin. Don't forget that.
That's a major strike.
Yeah, but I just don't, I just don't find, a constant fat joke that funny.
Mm.
It could be because I am fat, but,
I don't know.
I'm willing to put that out there, but I don't find, nothing but just comedy about being fat gets old after a while.
Mm.
But, with this, I mean, it just doesn't make sense that they would try to keep the name up and have nothing of the original intent.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Dan Aykroyd is way too fat now to be a Ghostbuster. Bill Murray's too big, and Ernie Hudson, they could probably get pretty easily.
Probably.
I mean, the last thing I saw him in was a convention booth.
Yeah, exactly.
So, sadly, Harold Ramis is dead. So,
but he appears in it as a ghost.
But he could appear in it as a CGI character, as a ghost. And they're just missing, I mean, I can think of at least 10 different story ideas off the top of my head that they could use to make this movie and make it a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's like we're going to make a movie that's got such a huge loyal following out there, and then we're going to do nothing that will appease or delight that following that wants to see all these things. It's like, okay, duh.
And I mean, people still talk about Ghostbusters. Kids nowadays still know Ghostbusters.
Hey, I don't know a single. We have a Ghostbusters. It's like the Star Wars and Star Trek troops. We have a Ghostbusters club here in Fort Collins. They dress up. Yeah. They have a van. They go to all these shows, and people take pictures with them. They have great costumes they made, blah, blah, blah. That's how popular into our culture this film has become.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you're going to make something that has nothing to do with that? Duh.
Yeah, and there's even a Chicago Ghostbusters sector in Chicago, and one of them was kind of a total douche at the August Doctor Who 101 event I put on, because he was like, he's just kind of being obnoxious and not letting people speak, and it's like, I love the original Ghostbusters, even though it's not in my age bracket. I love the animated series, and I'm willing to deliver a vicious beatdown on this dude in defense of all those honorable people who are Ghostbusters fans. Dude, if you're listening, you have shamed that uniform.
Oh.
To beg my forgiveness.
Wow.
Turn in your particle back, pal.
Exactly. All right, so moving on from Ghostbusters, Chris Claremont recently spoke out on a podcast, I believe it was, about why the X-Men department at Marvel is not allowed to create new characters, and it has to do with the X-Men franchise held by Fox, the movie franchise.
I call shenanigans on this.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, I mean, it is from Bleeding Cool, this story, so
Well, yeah.
take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, just because you create something in one medium doesn't immediately mean that it transfers over to another medium.
Well, we'd have to know the actual, what's the word?
The deal that they make.
We would have to know the details of the deal between Fox and Marvel to know that for sure.
But keep in mind, guys, okay, this isn't so much even Bleeding Cool saying this. You can listen to the podcast.
Yeah, they do have it down.
This came out of the horse's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think
Chris Claremont says in the podcast that when Fox made a deal with Marvel, they bought the X-Men. And part of that deal, in the minutia writing, the indicia said anything that is an X-Man, woman, whatever, is owned by Fox, as far as the film community is concerned, interpretation or whatever. So Marvel basically could write any X-Men they wanted to, but they couldn't do the movies. Fox owns X-Men.
Yeah. So, I mean, their logic behind this was, if we're creating new characters, we're giving Fox more material when they want the license back. So
So now they're not calling them X-Men.
Yeah.
Advanced, superpowered, whatever, but they're not X-Men.
I'm convinced that's why they. I'm sorry, John. I'm convinced that's why they went ahead with the Inhumanity event, where they're
of course, exactly.
So what were you going to say, John?
I would like to read the contract, because I don't believe he knows what he's talking about.
I think so too, because even if you own, quote, the X-Men, you could Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, perfect example. Those characters appear in both movies. Now, not having seen Days of Future Past, I don't know if one's referred to as Pietro and one is Quicksilver, one is Maximoff, one is Pietro. You can't really do that. And I think Fox, I mean, given the fact that, the other big rumor is that Marvel is canceling Fantastic Four simply to tick off Fox, I'm with John on this one. Send us the contract. John and I have watched plenty of reruns of Perry Mason and L.A. Law. We can figure this all out.
That's right, man.
I will say that I would think it would be plausible if, from Disney's standpoint, not so much Marvel, but from Disney's standpoint as, the owner of Marvel and, all their properties and everything, to kind of put a slowdown on merchandising because they want those properties back. I could believe that. I don't know, like you guys said, we don't know the details of everything, and all of this is speculation and rumor, and who knows if Chris Claremont has the knowledge to even speak.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to remind all of you, Chris Claremont is a lawyer.
Well, okay.
Okay?
Yeah, I knew that.
He's not an amateur talking about law contracts.
Right. But has he actually read the contract is the question.
Indeed, or is he just talking out of third, fourth, or fifth knowledge? I was joking with Brant. Actually, he showed me this before it ended up in the agenda, and I said it was because they've already had to kill off at least
twice, yeah.
Yeah, they already had to clear the field a couple of times already.
Yeah.
So, I can understand that being the reason. I could understand Disney just not wanting to deal with more mutant characters, but, this I feel very suspect about. I mean, honestly, if Fox, quote unquote, owns the X-Men, where is the Forge movie? Where's the Random movie? Where all these properties that they, are holding on to?
I don't know. I mean, that's the whole reason they can't say mutant in any of the Marvel Studios stuff.
Yeah, they're gifted now, but,
Well, I mean, this really ties into, because, I mean, look, hey, regardless of if this is accurate or Claremont's blowing smoke or whatever to get some attention to the property. But, I mean, this really does segue into our next topic here, which is basically Fox bringing X-Men to TV. That's the one item in this whole agenda that I saw was pure bunkum. Okay, Fox is not going to do a live action X-Men. It's not going to happen.
The only way I could see it is if they went like we were actually talking about this on Comic Frontline. If they went the route of like the X-Men Academy, and went with no name C-level kind of characters that they're not going to do film in the films. But yeah, I kind of see your point. They've got this movie verse. Why dilute it and move it to television?
Right.
So.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense financially either, unless they think they're going to be able to create some sort of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. out of this.
Yeah, and that would be weird though. I mean, Fox, obviously it's Fox, so wouldn't it be weird to have Gotham and X-Men on the same channel?
Yeah, it's it's a little funny for them. Although it would make for an interesting night.
It would.
For Gotham and X-Men back to back.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually my wife mentioned she didn't understand why they didn't put Arrow and Flash back to back. And then, of course, last night they showed the rerun or the encore presentation of Flash right after Arrow.
Well, the reason is because they're using Flash to lead into Supernatural and Arrow to lead into something else. They're using the lead-in shows.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because they're the most popular. So.
Yeah.
Right, of course, but it's an interesting thing to try to add those two together. But yeah, they did such a horrible job last time they tried to do a live action X show.
Generation X, yeah.
Generation X.
Terrible.
If you've never seen it,
don't.
Especially if you're already depressed. Don't watch that show because you'll slit your wrists.
You don't want to see their live action version of a character named Skin who has power stretching.
The only decent X-Men TV show was Alpha, and they canceled it.
There you go.
Yeah, honestly, you're very much in a...
Well, Mutant X wasn't bad, but yeah, I agree.
It wasn't that great either.
No, you're right.
Honestly, the best analogy I can give this, that never released, but you can find it everywhere online, Justice League movie. Generation.
But speaking of Flash, since we brought that up, we have actually a few headlines regarding the Flash. And Flash, this series premiere was this past Tuesday on the CW network. Open to 4.79 million viewers, it is the largest premiere in the past 5 years for the CW network. So,
and I have no trouble believing that.
I don't either. I love this show. It's an absolutely fantastic show.
I only had one part that I was you all missed a golden opportunity.
Okay, what was it?
With,
careful, no spoil.
No, actually, I'll spoil it a little, tiny bit. When Barry revealed himself to Detective West, as Barry, I thought that was definitely a missed opportunity where, even though Detective West now believes that, these impossible things are possible, I thought Barry having to keep a secret from someone like that, someone who's been such an important part of his life, would be very much a kind of, Peter Parker, Aunt May esque sort of thing.
Right.
He's going to have to keep it from Iris as it is.
Right.
Yep.
Being able to keep it from Detective West, and Detective West going, okay, this this Flash guy's really helping us out, Barry, why can't you be more like the Flash or something, something like that, just that it took away a plot point that I think would have been eventually pretty interesting. Now,
I'll tell you why I think they didn't do it that way. Because
the professor?
No, because they have that dynamic already on Arrow with Detective Lance and Oliver.
Yeah, true.
In a way. So it would be kind of, playing the same route on both shows.
Hey, we're obviously going to have to do another episode to just center on talking about the Flash.
No, of course.
After it's been on for a couple of weeks, okay? But, man, I was like a kid watching this show. And again, going back to our discussions about Gotham, this thing totally knows what it wants to be, okay? Yeah. It hit the ground, and it's the pun, it hit the ground running, okay? It's fun. It's light. It's positive. It's got a great cast, a great hero. This is a comic book TV series in its purest essences. There were so many Easter eggs and pieces throughout this thing. We're getting the Rogues Gallery and stuff like that. And I got to tell you, I about almost came out of the chair when they were looking at the ruins of Star Lab, and they went by the Grodd cage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was like, oh my God, it's Grodd. My wife's
Actually, there's something I want to mention about that, but go ahead.
My wife's like, who? I said, Gorilla Grodd. And I said, the cage is open. He's loose.
Yep.
Oh my God. This is an amazing series. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. This is a series that, that really, you can tell that the production team is like, okay, we know the mistakes we made with Arrow. We're not going to make them with this. And the other thing that I like about it too is that Arrow is a little bit dark, but I'm not a big fan of the whole Barry mom was murdered by Professor Zoom subplot.
Yeah.
But there's a fun aspect to this show that I think really sets it apart from Arrow. And I caught the pilot both times, both when it premiered and in the rerun. And without spoiling, I think towards the end there's a scene that indicates a major twist. And I thought I saw something that seems to be something that will, and it's kind of sort of related to one of the items on the agenda. But I'm thinking, I wonder if they're going in that direction with this particular character.
Okay. I think I know what you're referring to. Speaking of which, John, you wanted to say something about Grodd real quick.
Well, not just about Grodd, but there was one website that put out several Easter eggs from the episode.
Right.
And a few of them are spoily, and I'll skip those. But a few other things that popped up that were interesting is you got Channel 52.
Yeah.
And if you've been keeping up with any of the books lately, you have Channel 52's little news reports at the end.
Of every book, yeah.
Of everything, we have Big Billy Burger, which, premiered in Superman in action way back.
Right.
You've got the shot of the Twin Cities, if you caught it, kind of in the back of the accelerator.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the bridge that links together Keystone and Central City.
Nice.
Yeah, they mentioned Keystone.
Yeah,
they do mention Keystone.
Oh, yes.
Well.
Yeah.
And what's really funny, and I've seen this on one of the sites, is where you, at one point early on, they're talking about cops in Keystone, so Keystone cops.
Keystone cops.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I skipped, actually. Then you've got that Asian reporter there who...
Linda Park.
Linda Park,
yeah.
Yeah. Which I was thinking that's going to be a problem, because if Wally has to be Iris's cousin or nephew, she's going to have a significantly older cousin to make that work out.
Well,
Yeah.
To actually have Wally come into this later,
Well, I mean, that's not unheard of, though.
it's not a big thing, but
Yeah.
it's a thing.
yeah.
The slow motion meal thing from the very first Golden Age Flash, they caught that, although the meal was not the same. We will say that. There's a new thing in the 52 books that Jitters Coffee Shop. That's the name of the coffee shop that Iris works out of. It's called Jitters.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. You have Gamby Cleaners.
That's a new one.
If you're into Flash at all, you know the guy that made all the Rogues costumes.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called Paul Gamby.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, Ferris Air. That was the
Yes.
one.
Oh God, yes.
I love that reference.
Flash running the opposite direction around a tornado. That's, classic.
Right out of the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Um,
That's the first time he ever fought the Weather Wizard, and that's how he
that-
beat him.
Yeah, that was another thing, too. They never mentioned him by name. I was sitting there waiting for them to go, Weather Wizard. Even if they did it kind of coyly to go, this Weather Wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like a headline. Those are the weather.
That, in quotes, Weather Wizard. And then one of the things that got me, have you ever seen a CSI room with a skylight?
Can't say I have.
No.
Around on bottles. Then, of course, you have Cisco Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Vibe.
The future vibe.
Yeah.
Caitlin Snow, the potential future Killer Frost.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Thawne could be a Bard Thawne, the Reverse Flash,
Right.
but probably not now. And let's see, of course, Grodd, the Grodd thing, the Weather Wizard thing. And Caitlin's fiance is Ronnie Raymond.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, and as we know, and actually I didn't catch who it was, but I did catch the headline that they have, they've gone ahead and cast the Professor Stein half of that.
Yeah, I did see that. So that's cool.
And they're trying to equate Harrison Wells with a Wells that was in the comics, who was also in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to equate him with Hunter's Loom, the other Reverse Flash,
Oh.
but I don't think that's gonna pan out that way.
Yeah.
Although
I will tentatively disagree, because there is, at one point in that final scene,
Mm-hmm.
I thought I saw a burst of some colors, which may have given a hint. Now, whether it was just the episode using that as a way to end it, or if it was meant to foreshadow something, I don't know. But I get the sense that they might be leaning in that direction. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's possible, but then, you have two potential Reverse Flashes around.
Yeah. Which,
And
okay.
and the producers have also said that time travel is going to be a factor in this, in that, in this series, they have the premise that history can be rewritten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And speaking of Reverse Flash, we did get pictures of Reverse Flash that hit the internet this week, showing the full yellow and black and red outfit. Which,
I hope he fell in an oil slick, because if not, that color separation.
They may enhance it with the effects. Who knows? But I think this is awesome. That we're seeing Flash versus Reverse Flash in live action here.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
very
awesome.
much.
It's just,
To have
it's
that
just,
black in there, it just looks horrible. I hope he fell in some oil or something.
there you go. What the hell?
So.
But they do get out at hyper speed, so that's going to be interesting to watch.
Oh,
Yeah,
regardless.
and we also got a trailer of Captain Cold.
Yes.
which I'm really excited. I mean, that's obviously, Flash is one of his key Rogues Gallery members. So,
Well, I mean, off the top of my head, the top 4 had to be Weather Wizard, Mirror Master, Captain Cold, and Captain Boomerang.
yeah, I would totally agree.
Yeah.
Yep. So eventually, I'm guessing we're going to see all of them pop up.
Yeah,
Which is half the fun of this show.
exactly.
Yeah, although I really, really want to see Trickster pop up. And I really,
Oh, of course.
I really want them to go kind of crazy with it.
Yeah.
No, not Mark Hamill crazy, but I do want them to go kind of crazy with
Yeah,
it.
please. Oh, man. But yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, speaking of Arrow, he plants a little kiss on Felicity in this video as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after what happened last night on Arrow and the way Arrow ended,
Yeah.
she pretty much dumped him.
Once we talk, we're done.
He can't figure that out. I feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's going to be an on-again, off-again thing all season.
Oh.
I don't know. I think it makes way for another relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
Plus, the Ray Palmer
As
thing
sand
too.
through the hourglass, so go the days of our lives.
It is the CW after all.
Yeah.
That's true. Without a little angst here and there, what do they have?
Exactly. All right, but that's all the headlines we got, and that means we have to say goodbye to Ron because Ron's not going to be able to stick around for the
Ron,
topic
you
time.
should hang on, man.
Yeah.
I am against this theory. I really am.
Well, let's say what our topic is first before you go into this. Our topic, we're going to be talking about Holmes versus Houdini. I can't remember the official title, but it's from Dynamite Entertainment. It came out last week. And Ron has a reason that he does not want to participate in this particular topic, and I'm sure he will explain it, and John will jump in after that. Yeah.
Well, let's put it like this. I will explain it months from now.
Okay. Well, there you
All
go.
right? And then this will all become clear to people listening. But honestly, ultimately, it's a case of conflict of interest, and I really don't want to say much more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Ron is actually doing the ethical thing here, so never mind what John says. This is Ron's taking the high road, which is very rare that I actually say that in public on a podcast.
Yeah. Let's say this though, Ron, that it has nothing to do with anything against Dynamite or any of the creators.
No, of course not.
No.
And this is probably a fantastic series. I've already made mention of the fact that what I don't want to talk about somewhere down the line, if they collect this, I'm going to be listening to the rest of the show after you guys put it up to hear what you have to say with bated breath. Believe me.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
Well, then I cannot rebut without revealing what you don't want to reveal, but I do want to have the discussion with you about why I don't think this is necessarily necessary
Okay.
at some point from a professional perspective point
Right,
of
one
view.
creator to another. Okay, sure.
Right.
Yeah, maybe pre-recording next week's episode.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll talk about it definitely.
So before we do jump into this and we say goodbye to Ron, do you have any announcements you want to talk about?
Yeah, I do. Thank you. A couple really, which I'm very happy about. The first being just this week, Airship 27 Productions has released its 20th title of the year, breaking we've now broken our record of 18 titles in 1 year. And here we go. Book number 20 is a novel by writer Chuck Miller. It's called The Bay Phantom, A Confederacy of Devils. And it is a really, really awesome new pulp character hero. He sets it in the Deep South, in Mobile, Alabama in the 1930s, which obviously deals with that kind of atmosphere of racial prejudice and bigotry, political corruption, and in the midst of all this, a new Avenger is born. One of our good friends, Writer Child Saunders, after reading it, gave me the quote, move over Shadow, there's a new cloak in town. Books available at Amazon in hard copy and on Kindle. And the art, by the way, the illustrations inside the book and the cover painting, which is absolutely gorgeous, about a young artist who's making a big name for himself in the graphic world, Zachary Bruner. This is his fourth project for Airship 27, and it's always a pure joy to work with this guy. Grant, I think, has the link to the review, the press release and the cover, and I'm sure he'll put it on the show notes. So that's number one. Number two is next week, hopefully, I will be announcing, the release of my newest children's book. It's going into its final production today. We hope to have it at Amazon by the weekend so that next week I'll be able to tell all of you about Jamie and the Fish-Eyed Goggles, written by yours truly and illustrated by the phenomenal Gary Cotto. And even, again, like I said, next week, hopefully I'll have some artwork to show people and the press release for that. So keeping busy, having fun. And as always, guys, it's been a pleasure, being here with you guys and sharing another great episode of Zone 4. I will catch you all next week.
All right. Take care, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye, all.
All right. Bye. All right. So now that Ron has left us, it is topic time.
Topic time. It's topic time.
Topic time, yay!
All right, and we already mentioned what we're talking about. So, Gordon, you're the one that suggested this particular topic, so you want to kick us off here?
Okay, well, I actually found out about this through I Hear of Sherlock, which is a blog about Sherlock Holmes. Mm-hmm. And it's, I'll be posting that review, and it should be up sometime next week. But it's a book from Dynamite. It's written by Anthony Del Call and Connor McCreary, who write Kill Shakespeare for IDW, and I've got all their back trades, so I'll be reading those shortly. But it's a series called Sherlock Holmes versus Harry Houdini, and it's a story. It takes place in 1900, and it opens with Harry Houdini performing an escape at Scotland Yard, and he does this escape, and he impresses all the policemen who are watching, but there's a prisoner who says, "Oh, you're not that impressive. I can actually figure out who you do it." Turns out the prisoner is Sherlock Holmes. And it plays off a kind of historical fact, because in the 1900s there's a big movement towards spiritualism. So ghosts and fairies, and you know how after 9/11 we had that shows like Medium and Ghost Whisperer. It's kind of prevalent in that time. And Arthur Conan Doyle and Harry Houdini had a relationship kind of like John and I on this podcast. Arthur Conan Doyle was yes, fairies exist, spirits exist, ghosts exist. And Houdini was like, it's all BS. You need to be rational. And so this series is about Sherlock Holmes it's about two guys being rational, except there are these kind of weird mystical occurrences happening. Houdini is like, yeah, I'm a magician. And Sherlock Holmes is not just barking, but is like, he's super rational. So, and I thought, this might be a really good book to have us talk about, because one, it's good for them. And I thought that this was a kind of book that I think you guys would enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. John, what did you think about the book?
Overall, I really did enjoy it. I liked it quite a bit. I've read up quite a bit on Harry Houdini, and from this first issue, it's very much dead on the way he not only performed but believed. A lot of his later career was debunking those people who were claiming to be mediums and mysticists and, things like that. And it only happened where after his mother died, someone had claimed to him that they could contact her. Well, when he went to this person, they supposedly contacted her. She called him Harry. His name isn't Harry. That's his stage name. His name is Eric Weiss. So she would never have referred to him as Harry. And then he spent a lot of his later career debunking that, people who were essentially bilking people into believing that they were, being put in contact with their deceased loved ones.
Right.
So he kind of followed a very rational path, and he was very much, everything I'm doing can be explained. Everything, everything I do has a scientific meaning to it. There are no mysterious forces at work here.
Yeah, which he touches on in this issue too. So.
Yes, yeah, and that's kind of the driving force for the issue.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I really like the portrayal of Sherlock Holmes. I like the kind of methodology and the kind of the way he explained things. I know, in the history of Holmes that he had various drug addictions to opium, most often than not. But the African plant that they speak of in the book, I wasn't quite sure about the portrayal of Holmes in that way. And I wasn't quite sure of him doubting himself as much as he did at the glass case, to the point where he completely forgot about, the fact that Houdini was inside. Although I think that Houdini would have been fine no matter how long he had been in that case, just because I think that I know the trick. But but in that case, I was a little surprising of that portrayal, or portrayal, not betrayal, but that portrayal of him as so doubting his intellectual nature.
Yeah, that's
I guess
that's the only part that threw me off a little bit. Was his doubting there, and then maybe I'm not an avid Sherlock Holmes reader, so I don't know if there's a precedence for that at all. And I'm sure Gordon can fill me in on that if there is. But yeah, overall, I agree with you. I enjoyed it as well. I love the the kind of intellectual sparring between the two. Trying to best each other, and that's always fun to see. And then throwing in the other element into there towards the end of the book, which I don't want to spoil it, but throwing that other element which kind of shakes them both off their game is it's an interesting twist and something that I personally wasn't expecting in it. So solid first issue.
I wasn't expecting. I wasn't necessarily surprised though. Because I could see that getting something like that to happen, or making someone kind of do that to themselves, is a possibility. But and in that way, I think by doing that, these quote unquote spirits kind of revealed themselves as being anything but.
Yeah, true.
It was quite shocking, and I'm very interested to see the resolution.
Yeah.
Of that
as
thing now.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful book too. I thought I thought the art was fantastic.
Fantastically
I really liked it a lot. Yeah.
I agree. So Gordon?
Okay. Well, I really enjoyed this book as well. It's Brant, you mentioned the kind of the Holmes questioning his abilities. Conan Doyle, when he was writing after 1905, which is Hound of the Baskervilles, the Holmes stories he wrote Holmes had softened a little bit. Probably, and I'm sure if Ron will hear, he'd be correcting me or clarifying. I don't think he was as that introspective as he was in those panels, but his character had leavened a bit. And a lot of the stories that Doyle was writing were a little bit more, ironically, they're a little bit more hard-boiled and a little bit more of an edge to them. So it kind of fits, because this isn't the Holmes of 1895. This is not, your traditional Holmes. I think the authors, and they may correct me on this, I think they were going. It has a kind of Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes vibe, in that particular plot point. What I liked about it was that it wasn't just your traditional, like most team ups with Sherlock Holmes and a character. It's just let's just throw these guys in and see what happens. There's actual thinking behind this. There's an actual plot. I like the sparring. I like the fact that it kind of took a different slant on Holmes, which I really appreciated. I mean, I love the art. I mean, even the coloring and the lettering, which I normally don't notice, and I know there's a lot of work that goes into that. I mean, this is one of the best Sherlock Holmes related stories I've read in a while. I mean, I really recommend. I have to post my review on I Hear of Sherlock, but I can really I heartily recommend this book. It is a really good book.
Awesome. So, I mean, you got 3 thumbs up from us. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I had my mic muted for a second and I didn't realize it. But yeah, no, definitely thumbs up from us, and we'll definitely keep reading this series. Like I said, we talked about Dynamite earlier in the episode, how they do some good books, and this is another example of that. So I think we're all interested to see what happens with this particular story, and maybe we can, if on a week that Ron's not on, we can talk about the second issue as well. So.
Yeah. One other thing I should say, I love the characterization of his wife, of Houdini's wife, Bess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love the besting, trying to best each other. I love that aspect of it. So, do we know how many issues I'm assuming it's a miniseries.
Yeah, it's a miniseries. I don't know how many issues it is.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Dynamite's always vague on that.
Yeah.
So, we'll keep an eye on it, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more. So
it depends on sales, I suppose.
Yeah, probably. But like Gordon said, it's the Kill Shakespeare writers, and they do good work. So I'm sure they'll see it through. But yeah, there we go. High marks for Dynamite's Sherlock Holmes versus Harry Houdini. Go check it out. It is in stores now. Came out on the 1st, I believe. So that's going to wrap up our show. And all we have left to do is go around the table and see what everybody has coming up and going on. And I said that totally wrong, but Gordon, go ahead.
Okay, well, first off, as always, I have a short story in Pro Se Productions Tall Pope. Feel free to buy it on Amazon. It's available as a paperback or Kindle. I'm also working on a short story for Airship 27, and I've got one kind of in the queue, as well as some other stories for some other publishers coming out. But the most important thing is we're gearing up for Chicago TARDIS on Thanksgiving weekend, and this year again we're doing a charity auction. So if you're if you're attending and you want to bid or you want to donate an item, head to chicagotardis.com and go to charity auction. We have links right there, so you just fill out an easy form. I'll get it via email and then confirm with you at some point within 24 hours. And if you have questions, email me at auction@chicagotardis.com.
Awesome. John, what do you got?
Let's see. I'm presently finishing the last teaser image for the Woman in Red book, and then I'll throw all that together and start working on the book after that. I think my children's book that I'm doing with my teacher friend is on indefinite hold because I haven't heard from her since school started, so she must be having a rough year.
Gotcha.
So that might have to wait a little while. Yesterday, I put up my second review for the Random House art books that I've been getting, Draw a Saurus. You can find that on Comic Related right now. It's geared towards younger artists, I'll say. It's not exactly a kid's book, but it is geared towards younger artists. On drawing various types of dinosaurs, and it's real cute and fun. And if you dig dinosaurs at all, I can definitely recommend that you go and do that. Other than that, of course, I am coloring New Comic Day right now, and very, very close to the point where Brian will quit messing with it. It gets less and less every time.
It does.
And then I'm doing some more work for Dave Arhar, an old friend of ours. He just contacted me today about a gothic romance story that he's interested in doing. So I'll be doing a little gothic romance research, because that's not a genre I've ever tackled before. Gosh, let's see. Other than that, of course, I'm writing a Sherlock Holmes versus Harry Houdini book. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really not doing that. But I am, as Brant is as well, going to be doing tons of stuff for the New York Comic Con, because our bud and boss, Chuck Moore, is presently standing in the middle of New York right now, and he will be sending us back information and pictures and various other fun stuff. So
yeah, like Hiro Nakamura, he's standing in the middle of the street just right now. So
he's in the middle of Times Square,
yeah, exactly.
holding up all the taxi cabs.
Yeah.
And other than that, that's about it. Other than, of course, doing stuff for New York Comic Con. Beyond that, doing stuff for the Mike every darn day of the week. So make sure you check that out.
You kind of you cut out there for a minute.
I know. Make sure. Can you hear me now? I think my voice actually cut out.
What he said, folks, was the Mighty Comic Related. So
the Mighty Comic Related every darn day of the week. So make sure you check that out at some point at comicrelated.com. Of course, I am live tweeting several of the genre shows now, up to 4, or is it 3?
It's only when you're live tweeting.
I don't remember either. I was going to live tweet once upon a time, but I decided it wasn't genre enough. But I am live tweeting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Flash, and Arrow, and I will probably be live tweeting Constantine. So there's
Gotham, huh?
Oh, and Gotham. So
okay,
that's 5. Crap.
You should do Once Upon a Time. I think it's genre enough.
Yeah, it's kind of genre enough. So I might start live tweeting that too, but that's a heck of a lot of live tweeting in 1 week.
It is.
Follow me on Twitter at John W. Comics Guy. If you want to follow my live tweets. Every great once in a while, someone from the shows will favorite a tweet, and then they will blow up like magic. Yes. Ming Na does that quite a bit off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So check that out. Other than that, I also have a Tumblr account now where I put up, actually I reblog a bunch of other people's comic stuff. And that's John Wilson Comics Guy.
Yeah.
/Tumblr.com.
And hopefully you didn't get those backwards, because one time you did and it sent me to the wrong place.
Yeah, who knows? Anything is possible. So go check all that out. I'm always somewhere on some social media at some point. So there we go.
Awesome. All right. For me, not a whole lot to talk about this week. I will say Jackhammer Usurper #1 is in stores now. It's a book from Action Lab Entertainment that I lettered. It came out, I believe, this week. And I'm looking on Facebook at a picture of it in a comic shop, so it is there. So go check that out. It is a superhero kind of detective crime noir kind of story. So real fun stuff there. Written by Brandon Barrows, who will be on our Walking Dead episode. Speaking of which, next week, after the premiere this Sunday of The Walking Dead season premiere, rather, we're going to do our Walking Dead cast I'm going to be joined by the Mayor, Don Johnson, Brandon Barrows, and comic-related Chuck Moore will be sitting in with us for a change for this one as we talk about the first episode and the season, what we think is going to happen and all this stuff. So should be a fun show. Look for that sometime airing next week. And let's see, Henchman issue 2 is very nearing the end, so hopefully it'll be out soon. And I'm working on a bunch of stuff for Assailant Comics right now. Singularity, Rise of the Posthumans, the Prose steampunk superhero anthology that I've written a story in. I did have it confirmed. It is still coming out at Christmas time. Don't have an exact date, but it will be very soon that will be out, and I can call myself a published author.
Yay!
Thank you. And let's see. Like John said, comicrelated.com and over on Comic Frontline as well, covering New York Comic Con. Didn't do a whole lot of coverage today, or you're not here. You're hearing this on Friday. We didn't do a whole lot of coverage for Thursday, but we'll definitely be picking that up for the rest of the weekend. And seems like I'm forgetting something. All month long, once again, Comic Related's 10th anniversary. So we'll be tossing in some celebratory stuff here and there. So keep an eye on the site for that. And yeah, I think we might be doing another Hall of Toys episode soon. Beyond that, just all the normal stuff. So there you go. So that's going to wrap us up. Gordon, take us out.
Okay, give me just 1 second. Make sure I let me just call up the file. And don't worry, folks. Yes, we're creatively extending time. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to thank the official bands of Zone 4, the Ray Wall Band and Society's Plague, whose music you hear on the show each and every week. So please invite them to play your sock hop. They do the kind of good old-fashioned toe-tapping music that your grandparents enjoyed. Also, we're very proud to be part of the Comic Related Podcast Network. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google us, or at zone4podcast.com. Grant, am I forgetting anything?
Don't think so. Comic Frontline, it's on there.
Oh yeah, don't forget, we're also part of Comic Frontline. We love Chris and all the gang there. And thank you very much for listening. And you are now leaving Zone 4.
Bye, everybody.
On the streets of New York City, he steps out to make a stand. He's Spider-Man.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.